90 days is all it takes to change the direction of an entire lifetime. My dear friends, life doesn't always give us the luxury of perfect beginnings. Some of us start in pain, some of us start in confusion, some of us start carrying wounds the world will never see. But every one of us has 90 days in front of us. A small window, a sacred window, a chance to transform the way we think, the way we live, the way we grow. So today, let me humbly share with you 7 practices, 7 steps, 7 commitments. If you give them your heart for just the next 90 days, there is something profoundly powerful about the first moments of the morning. Most people rush into their day like a warrior running into battle without armor. They open their eyes, grab their phones, scroll through noise, and step into the world already drained. But there is another way, a quieter way, a way that doesn't begin with speed but with stillness. Because the truth is simple, when the beginning is peaceful, the day becomes purposeful. Imagine waking up tomorrow and not touching anything, not your phone, not your worries, not your unfinished responsibilities. Imagine just sitting with yourself, breathing, feeling the rise and fall of your chest, listening to the soft hum of existence. You see, my friends, the world trains us to accelerate, but wisdom teaches us to pause. Because speed without direction leads to exhaustion, not accomplishment. Every morning, your mind is like a lake at dawn. The surface is calm, undisturbed, almost sacred. But the moment you let noise in, news, social media, the stress of yesterday, that surface becomes disturbed. Ripples turn to waves, and when the water is restless, it reflects nothing. In the same way, when your mind is restless, you cannot reflect, you cannot understand, and you cannot decide clearly. Stillness is not the absence of movement, it is the presence of clarity. Think of the most important decisions you've made in life. Rarely were they made in panic. Rarely did they come from moments of rushing. Clarity comes from quiet. Wisdom comes from listening. Strength comes from centering yourself before stepping into the world. That is why for the next 90 days, I invite you to begin your mornings in silence. Not as a ritual of discipline, but as an offering to your own soul. Maybe your life feels heavy right now. Maybe your mind feels cluttered. Maybe you're going through something that no one around you truly understands. But in those moments when the world feels overwhelming, stillness becomes medicine. When you sit in silence, you're not running away from your problems, you're preparing your mind to face them. You're reminding yourself that the chaos outside cannot control the peace inside unless you let it. Some people say they don't have time to sit still. But the truth is, you don't have time not to. Because when you're constantly rushing, you make mistakes. When you're constantly reacting, you lose control. When you're constantly moving, you miss the subtle messages life is trying to send you. Silence is not wasted time, it is invested time. It is the foundation upon which all other productivity rests. And stillness is not only about sitting quietly, it is also about connecting to gratitude, connecting to prayer, connecting to intention. When you wake up and say, "Thank you, God, for another day," you begin your morning with humility. When you whisper, "Guide me today," you begin with alignment. When you ask, "What is my purpose today?" you begin with direction. A noisy morning gives you tasks, a quiet morning gives you meaning. There's a story I once heard about a man who used to sit by the riverside every morning before sunrise. Someone asked him why he didn't use that time to get ahead. He smiled and said, "This is how I get ahead." Because he understood something most people don't. Pace is powerful, but presence is transformational. The world teaches you to move fast. The soul teaches you to move consciously. And when you start your day with stillness, you become less reactive. The little things don't shake you. Someone's rude comment doesn't define your mood. Traffic doesn't annoy you. Delays don't frustrate you. Your mind becomes anchored. And when the mind is anchored, life storms lose their power. For the next 90 days, give yourself this gift. Wake up, sit in silence, breathe, pray, reflect. Not because it makes you productive, but because it makes you grounded. Not because it impresses others, but because it strengthens you. Not because it changes the world, but because it changes you. If you start your day with noise, you'll spend the rest of it searching for peace. But if you start your day with peace, you'll carry it everywhere you go. There is a quiet battle that takes place every single morning, long before anyone else sees us, long before the world demands anything from us. It is the battle between our dreams and our excuses, between who we want to be and who we have settled for. And strangely enough, this battle begins in the simplest place, the bed. People often laugh when I say this, but winning the first battle of the day sets the tone for the rest. Because if you cannot conquer the softness of your pillow, how will you conquer the mountains of your life? When the alarm rings, there is a voice inside us that whispers, just 5 more minutes, a gentle voice, a comforting voice. But not all comforting things are good for us. Sometimes comfort becomes the enemy of growth. Sometimes the warmth of the blanket becomes a trap disguised as kindness. Because the longer you stay in bed after you've already decided to rise, the more your mind learns to negotiate with your goals. And negotiation with your own mind is dangerous. You say, I'll wake up early tomorrow, but tomorrow becomes next week. And next week becomes someday. And someday quietly becomes never. Success is rarely about giant steps. It's about the small promises you keep to yourself. And the first promise of every day is the time you said you would wake up. When you choose discipline in that moment, you tell yourself, my word matters. When you press snooze, you tell yourself, my dreams can wait. And slowly, without realizing, you build a habit of postponing your own life. Think of the greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the wisest leaders. They all share one thing in common. They respect the morning. Not because waking up early makes them special, but because overcoming resistance builds self-respect. And self-respect builds momentum. And momentum builds a life. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. You don't even need to become a morning person. But you do need to train yourself to do what you said you would do. That is the essence of discipline. That is the foundation of success. When you get out of bed the moment you decided to, you win a silent victory. Nobody sees it, nobody applauds it, nobody even knows it happened, but your mind knows. And your mind rewards you with energy, with confidence, with the feeling that you are in control of yourself, not controlled by your impulses. Many people think motivation creates discipline. But it's actually the other way around. Discipline creates motivation. Because when you do the hard thing first, you feel strong. And when you feel strong, you want to do more. That is why the first battle of the morning matters so much. It sets the tone for how you face the rest of your day. Imagine 2 mornings. In the first, you wake up, roll over, and delay your start. You feel a little guilty, a little slow, a little behind. Everything you do afterwards feels like trying to catch up. In the second morning, your alarm rings, you sit up, your feet hit the floor, and you rise. No negotiation, no hesitation. You've already won. And the energy you carry into the rest of your day is different. Lighter, stronger, more focused. People underestimate how much spiritual strength is connected to discipline. When you overcome your laziness, you overcome your lower nature. When you get up on time, you're not just waking your body, you are waking your purpose. You are telling God, I am ready for this day. I am ready for the opportunities you send my way. I am ready to be responsible with the life you have given me. Think of a soldier. Before he enters a battlefield, he sharpens his sword. In the same way, when you rise, when you promise yourself you would, you sharpen your mind. You remind yourself that you are capable of self-control, capable of commitment, capable of change. For the next 90 days, treat your morning like a sacred ritual. When the alarm rings, don't wait, don't think, don't debate, just rise. Because that one small act, those first 5 seconds, can shift the energy of your whole day. And when 90 days pass, you won't just see changes in your schedule, you'll see changes in your confidence, your mindset, and your relationship with yourself. You cannot control everything that happens in your day, but you can control the first battle. And if you win the first battle, your chances of winning the rest become much higher. Rise with commitment, rise with intention, rise with faith, because the way you rise each morning creates the story you live each day. Your mind is the most powerful instrument you possess, yet most people treat it casually, feeding it whatever is convenient, whatever is available, whatever society throws at them. But the truth is simple and profound. Your life always moves in the direction of your dominant thoughts. If your mind is filled with fear, your decisions shrink. If your mind is filled with negativity, your energy drains. If your mind is filled with meaningless noise, your purpose gets lost underneath it. That is why what you feed your mind becomes the silent architect of your destiny. Imagine waking up every morning and filling your body with junk food. In a few weeks, you will feel tired, heavy, and weak. Now imagine doing the same with your mind, consuming gossip, drama, fear-based news, toxic conversations, content that does not elevate you or evolve you. Slowly, the heaviness seeps in. You start doubting yourself. You lose enthusiasm. You lose direction. Not because life got worse, but because the diet of your mind did. Your mind is a garden. Whatever you plant grows. If you plant weeds, unhealthy content, negative thinking, unnecessary comparison, don't be surprised when the garden becomes overrun with chaos. But if you plant seeds of wisdom, faith, discipline, inspiration, and self-worth, those seeds bloom into a life of clarity and purpose. A beautiful life is never accidental. It is always nurtured. It is always intentional. People underestimate how much their mental environment affects their emotional environment. If you constantly feed your mind with stories of failure, you start fearing your own potential. If you feed your mind with success without the struggle behind it, you start feeling inadequate. If you feed your mind with superficial entertainment all day long, your ability to focus becomes weak, and a weak mind leads to a weak life. But here is the hope. No matter where your mind has been, you can always reset it. You can always choose what you allow inside. You can always decide what shapes your thinking. And all it takes is 90 days of intentional mental nutrition to completely redirect your life. Start small. Choose one book that uplifts you, one podcast that teaches you, one video that inspires you. Just one. Don't overwhelm yourself by trying to change everything at once. Feed your mind tiny bites of quality content every day. Because tiny bites taken consistently build strong habits. There is a beautiful truth about the mind. It absorbs more than you realize. Even a few minutes of meaningful content can shift your emotional state, spark a new idea, or remind you of your strength. The same way junk food affects your physical energy, junk thoughts affect your spiritual energy. Your mind is constantly being shaped, either by you or by the world. And if you don't choose what you feed it, the world will choose for you. The world is loud, social media is loud, opinions are loud, trends are loud. And the louder the world becomes, the more intentional you must be. Because if you don't protect your mind, everything around you will invade it. The content you consume becomes the lens through which you see your life. If the lens is dirty, everything looks blurry. If the lens is clear, everything looks possible. Think about the last time you listened to something truly motivating. Didn't your posture straighten? Didn't your thoughts become sharper? Didn't your motivation rise? That's the power of mental nutrition. It energizes you in ways you cannot see but can deeply feel. Think of your mind like a bank account. Every positive thought, every inspiring message, every bit of wisdom is a deposit. Every negative thought, every toxic conversation, every comparison is a withdrawal. And most people are bankrupt, not because they lack talent, but because they lack positive deposits. For the next 90 days, make your mind your priority. Feed it with truth, not noise. Feed it with growth, not distraction. Feed it with wisdom, not worry. And you will notice a shift, not only in how you think, but in how you speak, how you act, how you show up in the world. Slowly, your confidence returns, Your clarity sharpens, your emotional resilience strengthens, because when you feed your mind what you want your life to become, your life starts moving toward that vision. Effortlessly, naturally, powerfully. There is a quiet truth about growth that most people overlook. The things that strengthen you are rarely comfortable, and the things that comfort you rarely strengthen you. Every time you avoid a challenge, you shrink a little inside. Every time you run from discomfort, you teach your mind to settle for less than what you are capable of. But every time you do something hard, something you don't want to do, something that stretches you, something that demands effort, you grow. And that growth becomes the foundation of a stronger, wiser, more resilient you. Doing one hard thing every day is not about torturing yourself. It's about training your mind to stop running from difficulty. It's about building a relationship with effort. It's about reminding yourself that you are capable of more than you think. People often ask why life is difficult, but difficulty is not a punishment. It is preparation. Just as muscles grow only when stretched, the soul grows only when challenged. Think about the hardest moments of your life. They may not have been pleasant, but they shaped you. They made you wiser. They deepened your compassion. They strengthened your character. They built your resilience. And that is what doing one hard thing each day does. It doesn't create stress, it creates strength. It could be something physical, waking up early to exercise, resisting unhealthy food, or pushing through a workout even when your body feels tired. It could be something emotional, having an honest conversation you've been avoiding, apologizing sincerely, forgiving someone who has hurt you, or setting boundaries where there were none. It could be something mental, studying when you don't feel like it, focusing without distraction, or staying committed to a task even when boredom or frustration kicks in. Or it could be something spiritual, showing patience when your mind wants to react, choosing kindness when anger feels easier, or trusting God when fear whispers otherwise. These small acts of discipline become the building blocks of inner strength. Every time you choose the harder path, you expand your capacity. You deepen your courage. You sharpen your self-control. You reinforce the belief that you can handle life, not just the easy days but the difficult ones too. Most people have a habit of complaining when things are hard, but complaining doesn't change anything. It only drains energy. The moment you stop complaining and start embracing the challenge, your life shifts. Complaints make mountains look bigger. Courage makes them look climbable. When you do a hard thing every day without complaining, you are not just building discipline, you are building dignity. There's a story about a young man who asked his mentor, "How do I become stronger?" The mentor gave him a heavy stone and said, "Lift this every day." After a week, the young man returned and said, "It's still heavy." The mentor smiled and replied, "Good, that means it's still working." Strength doesn't come from ease, it comes from resistance. Character doesn't grow in comfort, it grows in challenge. Faith doesn't deepen in calm waters, it deepens in storms. When you choose to do one difficult thing each day, you are choosing to grow intentionally instead of accidentally. You are no longer waiting for life to toughen you, you are teaching yourself to be tough. And there is something incredibly empowering about that. Growth stops feeling like an accident and starts feeling like a decision. For the next 90 days, wake up with one mission, face one difficulty head on. Something small, something manageable, something meaningful. And when the discomfort rises, remind yourself that the pain of discipline is far lighter than the pain of regret. At the end of these 90 days, you will notice something transform inside you. You won't react as quickly, you won't quit as easily. You won't fear challenges the way you used to. You'll look at a difficult situation and say, "I've done harder things before, I can handle this too." Because life is not about avoiding hard things. Life is about becoming strong enough to handle them with grace. And when you train your mind to do hard things, your life stops feeling heavy because you become heavier than your obstacles. You beck, grounded, solid, unshakable. This is how strength is built. One challenge, one choice, one hard thing. Every single day, your life is shaped not only by your habits and your mindset, but also by the people you allow close to you. The truth is, Human beings absorb energy more quickly than they absorb advice. You can spend hours listening to motivational speeches, reading powerful books, or building discipline. But if you surround yourself with people who drain your spirit, discourage your purpose, or dilute your values, your progress will always feel heavy. That's why protecting your circle is not selfish, it is spiritual responsibility. Think for a moment about something simple, your passwords. You guard them carefully. You protect them from strangers. You hide them from people you don't fully trust. Why? Because you know that if the wrong person gets access, they can damage your resources, misuse your identity, or create chaos in your life. And yet many people are far less cautious about their emotional passwords. They access to their time, energy, faith, and peace. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Not everyone has earned the right to influence your decisions. Not everyone should have a seat at the table where your dreams live. Some people bring light into your life. Some bring shadows. Some encourage your growth. Others are threatened by it. Some celebrate your victories. Others secretly resent them. Learning to recognize the difference is one of the greatest acts of wisdom. Your inner circle should consist of people who push you toward your better self, not pull you toward your old self. People who hold you accountable, not enable your excuses. People who inspire you to rise, not pressure you to shrink. And above all, people who value your peace as much as you value theirs. There are three kinds of people you must learn to identify. First, the investors, those who add to your life. They care about your well-being. They speak truth when you need it. They want to see you win. They don't compete with you, they grow with you. Second, the neutral, those who neither hurt nor help but simply exist. They are not harmful, but they are not uplifting either. Their presence is familiar, but their influence is stagnant. And third, the drainers, those who take more than they give, who criticize without understanding, who discourage without thinking, who gossip, complain, and spread negativity like smoke in a small room. If you allow too many drainers into your life, eventually you'll start believing their voice more than your own. You'll begin doubting your strengths, questioning your worth, and shrinking your dreams. That's why, for the next 90 days, you must protect your circle with the same seriousness you protect anything truly precious. This doesn't mean cutting people off harshly. It means creating boundaries with compassion. It means recognizing which relationships help you grow and which relationships keep you stuck. T means being honest with yourself about who brings peace into your life and who brings pressure. Some people don't need to be removed, they just need to be repositioned. Surround yourself with people who talk about ideas, not people. People who talk about responsibility, not excuses. People who pray for you, not prey on you. People who celebrate your joy and comfort your sadness. People who challenge your laziness and nourish your potential. Sometimes the hardest part of growth is outgrowing the people you love. But remember this, if someone gets upset when you start protecting your peace, they were benefiting from your lack of boundaries. And that is not love, it is dependence. You deserve relationships that help your heart breathe. You deserve conversations that make your spirit rise. You deserve friendships that honor your values, not weaken them. And you deserve to walk with people who walk with God. People whose presence makes you feel anchored, strengthened, uplifted. Once you begin protecting your inner circle, you will notice an incredible shift. Your mind becomes quieter, your decisions become clearer, your mood becomes lighter, because the wrong people create confusion, but the right people create clarity. For the next 90 days, choose your company with intention. Spend time with people who inspire discipline, people who encourage kindness, people who live with integrity, people who value growth, and most importantly, people who reflect the qualities you want to see in yourself, because life becomes simpler, lighter, and more peaceful when your circle supports your purpose rather than sabotaging it. And when you surround yourself with the right people, God uses them as instruments to guide your journey, strengthen your faith, and shape your destiny. Your circle is not just part of your life, your circle builds your life. There is a kind of strength that does not come from achievement, talent, or ambition. It comes from kindness, from compassion, from the willingness to serve someone who cannot give you anything in return. In a world that teaches us to collect accomplishments, to compete endlessly, and to measure our value by our success, service brings us back to what truly matters: the heart. Because the worth of a human being is not in what they earn, but in what they give. Not in what they accumulate, but in what they contribute. Service is not weakness. It is the highest expression of strength. So many people today feel empty not because their lives lack comfort, but because their lives lack contribution. They have everything except meaning. They chase recognition, but recognition without compassion feels hollow. They chase wealth, but wealth without generosity feels cold. They chase success, but success without service feels incomplete. Human beings were not created just to survive. We were created to uplift one another. Serving those who cannot repay you is a sacred act because it purifies the intention. When you help one who cannot return the favor, your heart becomes lighter, cleaner, and more aligned with your purpose. It becomes less about what do I get and more about how can I give. And this shift in intention is what strengthens your soul. Think about times in your life when you helped someone quietly. Maybe you comforted a friend. Maybe you supported a stranger. Maybe you offered your time, your ear, your presence. Didn't it fill you with an inner sense of warmth? A sense of purpose that no material achievement can replicate? That feeling is not accidental. It is your soul recognizing its nature. Human beings are wired for connection. We feel most alive not when we receive, but when we give. The world often tells us that kindness is a transaction. Do good because it will come back to you. But true service is not a bargain with life. It is not a business deal with the universe. True service is giving simply because giving makes you more human, more grounded, more grateful, more connected to God's purpose for you. When you serve someone who cannot repay you, you learn humility. You learn patience. You learn empathy. You begin to see beyond your own world, your own problems, your own perspective. Service expands the heart, the way exercise expands the muscles. It stretches your compassion. It strengthens your character. It softens your ego. Some people think they need great wealth or great status to serve. But service is not measured by size. It is measured by sincerity. A small act of kindness done with a pure heart is greater than a grand gesture done for attention. Holding the door for someone, saying a kind word, listening without judgment, helping a colleague without expecting praise, feeding someone hungry, encouraging someone who feels unseen. These small acts create ripples that the world desperately needs. Every person you meet is fighting a battle you may never fully understand, and sometimes your smallest act of service might be their biggest source of hope. You never know whose life you are touching, whose spirit you are lifting, whose heart you are healing. You never know how God may use you as a conduit of kindness in someone's darkest moment. For the next 90 days, make service a daily practice, not because you must, but because you can. Look around you. Someone near you needs encouragement. Someone near you needs comfort. Someone near you needs understanding. Someone near you needs compassion. And the beautiful truth is, you don't have to fix their entire life. You just have to show up with a kind heart. When you serve selflessly, you begin to notice something beautiful happening inside you. Your frustrations become lighter. Your anxieties become smaller. Your heart becomes more open. Your purpose becomes clearer. Because service shifts your attention from what is missing in your life to what is abundant in your life. It reminds you of your blessings. It deepens your gratitude. It aligns your heart with your spiritual values. Go. D smiles upon those who give without expecting. Life supports those who lift others. Blessings flow to those who become blessings to someone else. For the next 90 days, let your kindness become your identity. Let your service become your strength. Let your compassion become your contribution to the world. Remember, The highest form of greatness is not in being served, but in serving. At the end of each day, when the noise settles and life finally becomes quiet, you are left alone with your thoughts. And in that silence, you have a choice: to replay your regrets or to remember your blessings. Most people end their day carrying guilt. Guilt for what they didn't do, guilt for what they said, guilt for what they failed to achieve. But guilt is a heavy blanket. Once you wrap yourself in it, it becomes harder to breathe, harder to rest, harder to wake up the next morning with hope. Gratitude, however, is a gentle light. When you end your day with gratitude, your heart softens, your mind calms, and your spirit resets. Gratitude doesn't deny your struggles. It just reminds you that even in your struggles, you are still blessed. It reminds you that even when life feels heavy, God has not stopped carrying you. Gratitude expands your vision, not by changing your circumstances, but by changing how you see them. People often think gratitude is a reaction to big blessings. But the truth is, gratitude is most powerful when practiced in the small, ordinary moments. The warm meal on your table, the roof over your head, the breath you just took, the fact that you made it through another day. Gratitude doesn't wait for perfection, it grows in the imperfect places, the messy moments, the quiet mercies that often go unnoticed. Ending your day with gratitude is like cleaning the mirror of your heart. Throughout the day, dust gathers, irritations, disappointments, misunderstandings, unmet expectations. If you don't wipe that dust away, it becomes thicker with time, making it hard to see your own goodness, your own progress, your own blessings. But when you reflect each night on what went right instead of what went wrong, the dust clears, slowly, gently, beautifully. You stop going to bed feeling like a failure. You start going to bed feeling like a learner. You stop dwelling on what you didn't finish. You start appreciating what you did manage to do. You stop criticizing yourself for every mistake. You start thanking God for every lesson. There is an extraordinary spiritual power in acknowledging even the smallest gift. When you say thank you God for today, you shift your heart from pressure to peace. You remind yourself that life is not only about achieving but also about appreciating. You teach your mind to focus not on scarcity but on abundance. Over time, gratitude begins to transform the way you live. You start waking up with energy instead of dread. You begin noticing blessings that you used to overlook. You feel lighter even when circumstances feel heavy. Because gratitude does not change the external world, it changes your internal world. Many people spend their nights replaying conversations, reliving mistakes, or worrying about tomorrow. But worry is a thief. It steals rest, it steals clarity, it steals joy. Gratitude, on the other hand, restores joy. It restores perspective. It restores the feeling that you are guided and protected, even when life feels uncertain. For the next 90 days, make this a gentle ritual. Every night, before you sleep, think of 3 things you are grateful for. They don't have to be extraordinary. In fact, the more ordinary they are, the stronger the practice becomes. The smile of a loved one, a moment of laughter, a task you completed, a lesson you learned, a kindness you received, a challenge you survived. Let gratitude tuck you into bed. Let it wrap your heart in warmth. Let it whisper to your soul, you are blessed, you are growing, you are guided, you are enough. You will notice that your sleep becomes deeper, your anxiety softens, your heart becomes more peaceful, because gratitude tells your mind, it is safe to rest, it is safe to let go. You have done your best today. And if there are moments you feel you didn't do enough, remind yourself gently that life is not a competition of perfection. It is a journey of progress. Each day you show up, each day you learn, each day you take one small step. That is enough. Ending your day with gratitude does not erase your challenges. It simply strengthens your spirit so you can face them with a calmer heart tomorrow. It reminds you that even in the darkest nights, there is a light inside you that does not dim. So tonight and every night for the next 90 days, choose gratitude over guilt. Choose reflection over regret. Choose peace over pressure. Because a grateful heart sleeps deeper, wakes happier, and lives wiser. My dear friends, remember this simple truth. God does not ask you to be perfect. He only asks you to be willing to take one step, willing to try again, willing to grow even when it's uncomfortable, willing to trust even when the path feels uncertain. If you give your heart sincerely to these next 90 days, a little discipline, a little faith, a little intention each day, you will look back and realize that God was shaping you the entire time, not through miracles that fell from the sky, but through the small choices you made, when no one was watching, through the little victories you celebrated, when no one applauded, through the quiet strength you built, while the world kept moving. So step forward today with courage, step forward with humility, step forward with gratitude, because when you move with faith, you're never walking alone. Every step you take, God walks with you. Every effort you make, He multiplies it. Every dream you commit to, He strengthens it. And one day, you will look at your life and realize, it wasn't the big moments that changed you, it was the small moments done with big faith. Start today, start now, start with whatever you have, and let the next 90 days become the beginning of the most meaningful chapter of your life. Your life will not be the same,